Welcome back to Missing Time. Sumire and Flare are at the festival in which they won by submitting their pieces to the journalism club, and they got picked as community winner and author winner. Something along those lines. Don't know why I did that though. Oh my gosh, look at this! Oh wow. Kanako really had gone all out, huh? The first sight that greets us when we get off the train station is nothing like I've ever seen before. The entire town is decked out with decorations. The streets are bustling, lively with all kinds of activities. There are street vendors everywhere. Walking among them are visitors like us. They're even performing tropes performing around the corners. God. Thank you, Kanako. Where did you want to go first, Sumire? Oh, I want to see them all. Let's start with some snacks then. I haven't had breakfast yet. You read my mind. Okay, yep, you can't go on an empty stomach after all. This town is even smaller than Kamachi, but it's 10 times more busy and vibrant. Maybe it's just because of the festival, but the energy is infectious. And there's a lack of occult as well. I can't keep a smile off my face as Sumire's warm hand slips to mine, easy as breathing, tugging me along and into the throng of people. Taiyuki, I haven't had Taiyuki in so long. Same. I'm gonna say this once again, like I have in the past in this Let's Play. Apologies if I mispronounce any food names incorrectly. And so I spat as well. Food festival is the best. Look, there's a game stall. Helpless to say no, I can only laugh as Sumire pulls me forward. For goodness sakes, do we not get a choice in this matter? Every part of the town square has been converted into festival grounds. The stalls and booths continue far into the central park, and the banquets on their small streets are just charming. And another part of the festival. Whoa, look at this! A hidden square. I wouldn't call it hidden. Otherwise there'll be no people here. There are less people here, but we still have festival stalls. What are they celebrating anyway? Seems like a pretty big deal around here. You came all the way here and even search up what's going on? Exactly. Surprise! Hey, I was busy with tests, okay? And preparing for a gift, but I didn't say that part. Sumire giggles. Her voice sounding like bells. So defensive. It's a summer sun festival. Ah, so they just did a celebrate the season, my bad. Sort of. There's a story behind it actually. What kind of story would it be then? Apparently once upon a time, the people of this town weren't originally from here, but over the mountains. Their home was ravaged by a monster that turned the people against each other, then drained the life force from them. Sounds like the occult then, from the ancient times when the occult originally came to here from the other world. The monster was so strong that the most powerful warrior couldn't defeat it. The village was forced to live in fear and shadows until one day a young girl received a vision of the sun goddess Ultimaris, telling her that she would shine a path through the mountains for the people to escape. Unfortunately, the girl was unable to convince many people as they feared the monster would pounce and kill them in the darkness. Still, she managed to persuade her family and the family of her betrothed to leave the accursed village, and for my sister's promise shone as true of her love. Leading the two families here where they rebuilt and prospered. Sometimes words really can't get out of my throat. It's a good ending, huh? There's no such thing as a good ending in these games. It's romantic too. The girl and her beloved are the ones who established the town, and they are immortalized with a small monument, the fountain in the square. It was a well before they rebuilt it, or so I heard about, but the tradition stays the same. People who travel would cast a coin into the water, and the couple would bless their trip with safety. So you're saying we should do the same thing, but we're not couples, it's neat. Also, what else would go with this trade-off? Nothing. It's not nothing, okay? Let's go see the rest of the festival, yeah? Alright. Sumire's attention jumps from one thing to another like a sparrow. It's difficult to follow her, but I'm always pleasantly surprised by what she says or does next. Not only that, she's very informative about everything too. It's like there's no secrets or surprises. Do you know that octopus can regrow their tentacles? Yeah, really? Yeah, like, there's one organ in the human body that can regrow if you take a bit off of it. Mm-hmm. Makes me think if someone keeps one, they can end a supply of teriyaki. That's very cruel. You know, how it regrows its tentacles and then finally it has its tentacles back and then it's just chopped off again. Like, imagine having your arms and legs consistently cut off as soon as they regrow back. You know what, I'm not having any more teriyaki. Uh-huh. That little setback doesn't deter much of Sumire's enthusiasm. She bounds forward, pulling me along to check out every store in our path. They're seeing no masks here. You like these? But they're so silly. Hey, it's a traditional art form, I'll have you know. I'll have you know I don't even know what these are. Besides, my mum loves these. I think I'll get her one. That's a good idea. We should get some presents. Indeed. Mm-hmm. Kanako would complain my ears off if I don't get her anything. I don't think so. You two are really close, huh? We are, sir. Can I have one more mask, please? One mask. Sumire bounces off the balls of her feet, excited as the shopkeeper carefully wraps up the mask for her. We've known each other since we were toddlers, so like you and Chiharu, really. Yes, we grew up together. Still growing, really. She's like my sister. Even if I had a sister, I probably wouldn't be as close to her as to Kanako. You guys practically do everything together, huh? We do. Which makes the end of high school seem much more difficult. You still have another year or two ahead of yourselves before you can think about that. Not like the protagonist and Chiharu, for goodness sakes. Oh, do you have conflicts in your plans? Sort of. Kanako sounds bold and she talks big, but she doesn't want to go far away from home. Not for long anyway. But I think 17, 18 years of staying in one place is enough, no? Yeah, it's a pretty big world out there. And life's too short to see only a small piece of it. Mm-hmm. Before I was really torn. I've always wanted to see the world, but I didn't want to leave everything. Everyone I've known behind. But then I met Chiharu. And you. Just because you go somewhere else doesn't mean you'll lose the ones you know. Exactly, thanks to the power of the internet and telephones. You'll gain more along the way. Bonds, friends, more memories, and more. And when you return, you will always be able to connect through old and new memories and the love that you share. Exactly. Sumire aims a sunny shine at me, so bright, so full of hope, that I'm rendered speechless. Before I could stop what I'm doing, I'll reach out and grasp Sumire's hand again? Okay. Oh wait, it was the other way around last time. Squeezing her delicate fingers reassuringly. Her cheeks beacon, but she doesn't pull away. Tentatively, Sumire squeezes my hand back, a shy smile blurring her lips. Yes. We end up buying a clay figurine of a popular anime character for Kanako, a delicate hairpin with plum blossoms for Chiharu, a decorative plate for my mum, a new hat for Sumire's dad, and a set of wind chimes for mine. The entire time, we kept arms linked. Neither of us addressed it, but neither is willing to pull away. My heart thrums in my chest as quickly as I can feel Sumire's pulse under my fingers, and my cheeks are so hot that I'm surprised they haven't burned off yet. Sumire hums a happy tune under her breath, swaying her hands between us like it's the most natural thing in the whole wide diggity world. Funny how such a simple action can make me so ridiculously happy. I think we're getting more stuff for other people than ourselves. That's true, but there is a joy in gift giving. Aha, you're right. Do you often buy souvenirs when you visit somewhere new? If I visit somewhere new, that is. I'm not really a shopper, or much less a shopkeeper, but my mum loves collecting items with local marks on it. Is that why you got her that plate? Yep. Does she have a collection of magnets? Oh god, yes she does. I spend the next half an hour telling Sumire about my mum's tourist hoard, and the places we have been to. Sumire listens with a dreamy look in her eyes, and a wishful smile on her lips. One day I'll travel just as much too. Are you kidding? You'll travel even more. I'm sure you will. Let's go with that answer. I'm sure you will travel more. Thanks, Flare. You always know just what to say. Do you know that? The same could be said to you, you know. Oh? You've helped me a lot through this year. But I didn't do much, or anything too important. Sometimes just being there is enough. You don't need something dramatic to forge a strong bond. Indeed, that is correct. You're right. I might be adventurous, but I do prefer the gentler side of life. Yes, gentler side of life, you say. I'm the same. We curl our hands together, smiling. The sunset glow casts lovely shadows upon Sumire's cheeks. Again, with his cheeks being, her eyes sparkling with happiness and something more. The gift burns hot in my pocket. Maybe I am reading into things right. Ah, this part of the festival now. This is the only part of the festival that we saw actually within the game, which is the nighttime one with the lanterns. The lanterns light up the night. As the festival continues into the evening, we enter the park next, where most of the nighttime celebrations take place. There's a play about the town's legend at 7. Maybe we could watch it before we leave for home. Wait a minute, it's 7 o'clock and it's already that dark? What time of the year is it? Sure. Yay! We've been stuffing ourselves full of festival food the whole day, as much one does, so dinner doesn't sound all that appealing to either of us. Sumire grabs us 2 sticks of dango before we settle onto a bench overlooking the stage. It's been so long since I got to go to one of these. Folk stage production? And a proper festival too. Doesn't Kamaji have its own festival? I just remembered that now. Yeah, this is another town. Goodness sakes. Well, yeah, it used to have one. Emery put a stop to it though. Of course she would. How come? When her mother died and she took on the mantle of Onishi head priestess, she abolished the summer festival traditions. Why? It's complicated. Seems like nothing is ever simple with the Onishi. Exactly. There's always something going on with them. In some other timeline we get to know that, but right now, right at this very moment, this timeline, this very moment, I said that twice, but it's relevant. Things aren't as complicated as they seem to be. You can say that. To be honest, our summer festival's history is a bit morbid anyway. We have our own legends, you know. Yeah, about the curse. Yeah, the curse demon legend. Yep. Emery says the festival has always been something more personal to the Onishi anyway, and new traditions can be made. Unfortunately, nothing else has been established since she stopped the celebrations. Yeah, it's almost like time is at a standstill, not moving forward, but not looking at the past. So therefore it feels like nothing is happening, nothing is ever improving. Nothing is being done about the curse which Shazaya has opened up for herself to be able to gain powers from, and put it onto Ember and something like that. Anyways, wow, Emery really is a joy killer. And as frozen as the coldest sheet of ice. What do you mean a little? To be fair, she does have a lot of duties and responsibilities to tend to. Can you imagine being the head of a clan as prolific as Onishi at her age? Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that she'll be the oldest head priestess ever. For a very good reason. And she's a head priestess too. My dad said part of her duties is to work with Kamaji's town council. So that's another job on top of being a high school student. Yeah, 3 different things. A student, working at the town's council, and being the high priestess. That's a lot. Does she work for your dad too then? Sometimes. She's a bit of a town celebrity if you haven't heard. Who hasn't? Touchy. Ah, the play is starting. As Sumire's exuberant attention is drawn towards the play, I can't help but think about my encounter of Emery back at the shrine. She said she recognized me, but never elaborated. We never really crossed each other's paths at school, aside from that one time at the library, so I haven't really thought about Emery Onishi until now. And now that I call it, the way Emery looked at me then made something itch under my skin, Like I'm missing something crucial. Like I'm not supposed to be where I am. I remember you. Pardon? You used to come here with your grandfather and Chiharu. My condolences to your family. Your grandfather's passing is a loss to the community. And do you know how the main character's grandfather died? No, it wasn't due to like some sort of physical condition or anything like that. It's the fact that he was one of the victims to Shizeo and Ember. That's what it is. I don't remember Grandpa ever contributed much to the community. Even Mom said that Grandpa mostly kept to himself while he was still alive. Sure, he was nice to our neighbours, but he was never known for actively being part of the community. Being a part of the shrine, however, though, the most puzzling detail of all, one that I've overlooked until now, part of his will was not to hold his vigil at the Onishi shrine. Mom also said Grandpa stopped going to the shrine once we moved away. Emery doesn't strike me as the type to say anything she doesn't mean. Certainly not one to speak comforting words just for the sake of it either. If her relationship with Shizeo is of any indication. So why? Why does Emery say that to me? That is questioning. Flare? Sorry, what was that? You're that uninteresting place, huh? I was distracted, okay? I was really distracted. I scratched the back of my head sheepishly. Just got a bit distracted, that's all. It's fine. Now that I'm here, I'm a bit bored too. Want to wander around for a bit before I train? Sure. Sumire giggles quietly before pulling me up to my feet. She doesn't let go of my hand as we weave our way away from the stage. It's getting quieter. The festival is supposed to go on for another 3 days, but there's no way any of our parents would let us stay out that long with each other to boot. But I'm happy to have this chance to spend some lovely time with Sumire. She has always been so supportive, ever since my first day at Kamachi. Yeah, she's been a strong pillar. Full of youthful energy and hope, Sumire's kind heart shines through no matter what she does. I'm glad I've gotten to know her more today, and the days before that, and maybe even more in the future. We're here. Flare, do you have a coin? Finding myself standing in front of a fountain, I let out a huff of laughter, of course. Right, here. Let's make a wish together before we leave. Can't tell me what you wish for, though. That way it won't come true exactly. You gotta keep that wish to yourself. Alright. Holding the coin with both hands, Sumire screws her eyes shut. Her lips pull up into a gentle smile. Her cheeks pinkening as the silence between us grows. The sparkling water reflects against her skin, making her long eyelashes glow in this ethereal light. I smile to myself, knowing what I'm wishing for as I fold my hand around my coin. Are you done over there? I am. Let's toss our coins in together. At the countdown, the pieces of metal flick into the fountain with quiet pains sinking soundlessly onto the layers of past wishes at the bottom. I hope your wish comes true, Flare. I hope yours will too, Sumire. Automatically our hands find each other again. Helpless, we smile at each other again. Something prickles at the back of my neck, and I feel the weight in my pocket grow heavier. It's now or never. Sumire? I actually have something for you. Oh? Not willing to let go of her hand, I fumble with one hand, drawing a giggle out of a smile with deep inhale. I place a small gift into the palm I'm holding. This is, what is it actually? A travel journal, bound in soft blue leather with a bird charm attached to a binding string. I hope you can travel to all the places you want to, Sumire, and breathe free as a bird you're meant to be. Aww. Aww. What is this about? Suddenly I have myself an armful of a sobbing and laughing Sumire. She presses the journal between us, tugging me at the back of my shirt. You have no idea, do you? Sumire? This isn't kind of crying that is actually joyful. I've just met you this year. Why do you make me feel so much? I'm sorry? It's a compliment, silly. I love it, Flare. Thank you. I'll treasure your gift forever. I'm glad. With a choked laugh, Sumire threads our fingers together and bounces the steps as we head towards the station. The light of the festival blinking happily behind us. Dearie me, I thought that was a bad thing for a minute there. River, that is no good. It seems like Sumire's need for travel reflects in her preferred genre of manga. Everything she's pointing out as her favourite is adventure type. And that one, I've read both the manga and watched the anime. I'm waiting for the OVA to come out now. That one is that popular, huh? Yep, I heard they're going to make a game based on it too. How many different versions of the same thing can they make in in lots of different types of media format? That's awesome. Yeah! It's going to be released in my graduation year. I hope I can go to the expo and attend the event. Yeah, they're pretty much non-existent at the moment because of you know what. Ooh, make a post-high school pre-uni trip out of it. Yep. Kinda sucks I'll be going alone though. Come on now. By the time that rolls around, you could have a friend that goes with you. Kanako not going with you? Sumire shakes her head, twin tails sliding back and forth over her shoulders. Kanako has a vacation lined up with her parents around the expo's date. And none of my other friends are into the series. Poor Sumire, she looks so dejected. For as long as I know her, Sumire never likes doing anything alone. She thrives in the crowd and under the attention of others. That's why she drives herself so hard to excel and to not disappoint any of her peers. But now looking at her, she's still just a normal teenager, just like me, with hopes and fears of the future, just like me, with so much passion that her body can barely contain. But it's okay. It'll be just another adventure waiting for me, right? I'll go with you. Yeah, you're serious? Yeah, it's dangerous to go alone, don't you know? Flare. Unless you don't want to? This again, I have an armful of Sumire who thumps my chest with her head. Silly. Sumire? Of course I want to go with you. That's settled then. Though quiet, there are a few customers in the shop. They gave us a wide berth. Through a few female ones are clearly giggling. Carefully, Sumire steps away, rubbing at her red, ruddy cheeks. Only then do I realise my own face is heating up too. You gotta start catching up with the series then. Lend me all the books you have and I'll binge for the rest of the week. That's not great considering current scenarios of the future. Giggling, Sumire punches my shoulder playfully. You're such a dork. Yeah, but you love it. You shouldn't accommodate yourself for somebody else's love, let's per se. Unless of course you really enjoy it, that is. Half an hour goes by fast when you're having fun. We're back onto the main track. Nowhere in sight. That can only mean bad things, can it now? Besides going to the festival and the outcome of that, nothing really has changed when it comes to the main route itself. We're still on course to getting the end that we've gotten other times. Oh, hello. The epilogue is definitely different though. And that is where the expo comes in, I believe. But why is Sumire wearing her school uniform then? Flare! Sumire? Ah! Whoops, what'd you do? Ow! She knocks me straight back down to the bench. Honestly, this girl. You came! Of course, I made a promise, didn't I? Heh. You're still in your uniform? Of course, I came straight here, just as I told you. Didn't even stay for the after party, huh? There's no party with Great. It's like we bring the party with us for her. Blushing a little as Sumire giggles. Like, you can't say no to this, for goodness sakes. It depends on the questions, though. Practically sitting on my lap, trying to regain my composure, I look at the scattering bags she's dropped onto the ground. Is that all you're bringing? I do have a lot of valuables, but everything materialistic can be brought, right? Yeah? Still, you Didn't stick around to say goodbye? I regret my question when Sumire's good mood wills. She shakes her head. They would have kept me. It's better this way. Better if nobody would know, just like how they've treated us. I thump my thought against her, bring a giggle forth from her lips. That's better. Sumire is better off smiling. She doesn't she doesn't deserve to have a sad, scared face. She deserves to be happy at least. Well then, ready to begin our adventure? Hey, I've been waiting for this my whole life. It's time for a new chapter to begin. Thank you for waiting. Now, we will head into the light together. Okay, okay. End. Okay, so I can summarize that as a good end. Or even, probably even a hard to get achievement actually, because, well, not achievement, but hard to get end of all that matters. So, there's still too much within the game in which we haven't delved into yet, like the kind of illustrations that we're going into is yet to be unfolded. If that is a divergence factor, like is choosing a hobbyist or a official kind of article really going to diverge us, but also as well the kind of article, like is it going to be digital or traditional, because we chose traditional and then we chose hobbyist. So I'm not sure if the format itself is going to deter about an ending, because looking through all of that, it's like there's still so much left to explore. Are you kidding? You'll travel even more. Thanks, Ray. You always know what to say. Do you know that? Yeah, I think I do. It's just different dialogue. I don't think it's going to be a huge amount of impact towards the ending. I'm glad the developers made use of this cave aside just Emery's bad ending, so it is in a way very good that this part of the game is included, otherwise it would only be included once within a game and that's about it. We chose the not panic option alongside the other option when we was at the festival, but I still don't think there's going to be a difference in the ending. Let's be lazy and do a peeky peek. I lean over to look at Sumire's phone. Her cheeks redden, but she doesn't pull away. An onslaught of notifications overwhelmed us immediately. It doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. Okay, so a bit jelly, but that's about it. I don't think this would be what you would call a divergence factor. Phone choice led to the same outcomes as last time, whichever choice you would pick when it comes to going outside or staying in. So let's see if reaching out for Sumire or Kanako would make a difference when it comes to this sort of scenario. Let's see. Kanako doesn't answer at first. I get to the voicemail hang up suddenly, but then the phone rings in my hand. Sorry, was in the showers. What's up, fellow investigator? I gape at her rapid fire and strain myself to not laugh. Nothing much. Hey, if you're not busy, can I pick your brain over the topic submission thing? Ooh, a pitch. Very well, go on. Definitely going to take a while to get used to her strange wording. I cleared my throat and summarized my concerns to her, talking about the various topic ideas, but how none of them seem to stick. Kanako makes interesting noise at everything I list, but ultimately she says, "It sounds like you're trying to write something to be in the mold." Okay, but doesn't really help us though. See, in the journalism club, while we encourage our writers to keep things light and casual, we also encourage fellow investigators to go out and follow their passion. Games, manga, points of interest, we're all fun, but it doesn't seem like you're really passionate about any of them. Okay, well, they're all very cookie cutter, and no one can find stuff about those topics online. I mean, what I'm saying is, Flare, any topics are fine, but you can make them great by adding passion into them. It sounds like, to me, like you want to write something unique, but doesn't want to stray too far from what's already been written in the past articles and issues. That is, well, be creative, be bold, do what you feel is best for you. The worst the community can say is no, right? Unless the topic itself is wildly inappropriate, but then controversial can make a journalist's career, yep. Anyhow, Friday might be the deadline submission, but there's still another 2 months before the next press is published. You can submit a topic now, but no one's stopping you from changing it later. Not the first time that has happened in history. I see. Excellent. Glad I could be of help. Ta-da, fellow investigator. May the god of writing bless you with bountiful ideas. Or just some ideas. Not a lot of ideas. Thank you. The line goes dead. That's rather abrupt. Thank you very much. I blink at the phone. Well, there is that. I could have a difference when it comes to the ending outcome of the game. When it comes to Sumire. Like, we could possibly go to the festival, but because we didn't ring her up for her help, it's kind of like we pushed it off to the side in a way. Somehow this is different when we talk to Kanako. Nah, it's okay. It's dark outside. I'll walk you all the way back. You sure? Your mum wouldn't be mad? She's probably mad already. A couple more minutes wouldn't hurt. Besides, if I escort you home, I'd have a proper excuse as to why I come home late. Hey, if you're sure... I am. We're almost there anyway, right? Yeah. If you're hungry, you can stay for dinner. Oh. Sorry, if you don't want to, it's fine, but it's alright. I mean, if you're offering, if you don't mind talking to my mum about it, I guess I can stay for a bit. Really? Yeah, it's a good excuse to catch up anyway. Exactly, between everything that's going on, it's been a while since Chiharu and I have been able to sit down and talk one-on-one. Well, not about schoolwork or club activities, that is. Just life. You just want to hang out? Of course, you're my oldest friend. My most long-lasting friend. Who else would I rather hang out with? Aww. Okay, Flare. On the rest of the way back to Chiharu's, we call my mom, who expectedly scolds me for not calling ahead. She changes tone when Chiharu says hi though, and she seems happy enough to let me stay over for dinner. I guess that's settled. Bet it is indeed. Is it going to be another embarrassing one like the last time? But then again, Chiharu's mom isn't there. After all this time, I've completely forgotten how big Chiharu's place is. Probably because back then Chiharu came to our place more often than me coming over. Her parents are often away. Replace that word with always. So they usually had my grandpa babysit Chiharu alongside me. The house, if you could call it that, is massive and absolutely luxurious. But it was also always empty. Just like my chances in life. Right, I regret not visiting Chiharu sooner. It must have been so lonely being here. Okay, I have some sama prepped for grilling and some daikon I picked yesterday. I could whip up some nice hawasame salad, really quick as well. And ochakuzi. Oh, and 2 days curry. What would you like? Oh, all of that sounds so good. How about a little bit of everything? Yes, please. Helping Charlotte sit at the table, I chatted with her aimlessly. Charlotte's still buzzed about our meeting today, but I can sense her nervous energy as she flutters around. She clearly wants to talk about something, but is hesitant. I know not to push her. Charlotte would just close up if I do, so I bide my time, enjoying the gorgeous spread she made, and wait for Chiharu to come to me. It's like a cat, really. You have to wait for it to come to you, rather than you go to it, otherwise the cat will just run away. She doesn't, until we get to the iced melons for dessert. So, Flare. Yes? So, please don't be mad, but I looked... You are treading on thin ice, Chiharu. Why would you do that? This is meant to be a good timeline here when it comes to Sumire and deviating off the occult club. A chill crawls down my spine, staring at Chiharu. I'm rendered speechless. Flare? Chiharu, why? I was curious. Yeah. As I say, curiosity kills a cat, and we have to wait for the cat to come to us, don't we now? Continue. I was talking to Shizeo. You were? So, Emery Onishi is actually in my class, and Chiharu came looking for her one day. She recognized me and we chatted for a bit. Turns out Chiharu is actually in the occult club. She and her 2 friends joined out of curiosity, and things turned out to be pretty mild. We're not joining that club, okay? Yeah. You know, I like gossip. But baseless rumors are just mean. Not that I think Sumire is mean or anything. I just thought we shouldn't judge before we see it with our own eyes. Yeah, but she is too kind for her own good. She just walks into a bear trap without knowing it's a goddamn bear trap. For goodness sakes, it could say confettis on it, on the warning sign, with a stick over that says confettis, and she'll believe it's confettis rather than a landmine. What do you plan to do with this, though? Well, you're not thinking about joining, are you? I was thinking if I could write a small column to dispel the rumours, I mean. Emma might seem like she has a strong personality, but after what happened last year, the things said about her aren't nice. But Chiharu, what would that accomplish? I don't know yet. But Flare, living with baseless rumours during school is not a good experience. I should know. Oh, not with those eyes. Not with those eyes. I don't want more people to have to live through that if I can help it. But it might not work. I want to exclaim, but Chiharu seems to know what I'm thinking. She smiles, bright as the sun. At least even I can't dispel the gossip. I'd be able to let Ember know that she's not alone. Chiharu. I don't think I can change your mind, but promise me you'll be careful, yeah? I will be. Yeah, that's gonna end up real good, isn't it? Just think of all the other times that went well, like every other time. Every single time factor. And let me know if you need help with anything. Will do. Thanks. Well, aside from the sequel then, I mean, that was like Chiharu written all over when it comes to the antagonist of that tale. Chiharu seems much happier for the rest of the evening, and is cheerful even when I leave. I can't shake the worry that hangs above me after that little conversation, though. I just hope that whatever Chiharu decides to do, she won't keep it away from me. More than anyone, Chiharu needs people in her corner, not on the other side of the fence. I don't know if that choice would make any difference, though. Like, picking with Kanako and then we'll go to Chiharu's afterwards, or picking with Sumire and it still is with Sumire even after that. Unless I'm wrong, though, it's just Sumire over the phone and then it took so long that the basis of that would mean that after school it would still be Sumire in a way. Go out? Know more about Chiharu and then her intentions of being inquisitive about the occult club and then kind of walking into the landmine in a way of getting to see Chiharu outside of school or outside of the cave scenario. So what about the articles themselves? Like, this is one thing I think could be a ending divergence. Like, the kind of articles you're covering over, and therefore the kind of people that could be interested in this kind of thing would be different. Like I said, I think earlier in the Let's Play, official articles could be more bending for Emery, hobbyist articles could be bending more for Shizuyo, however you want to pronounce her name. Official articles. I think it'd be easier for us to work on with the official stuff. Announcements and other official articles would help us get used to the rhythm of it. Maybe we can change it up a little later down the line? What do you think, Chiharu? Sounds good. Alright, I can definitely help setting things up for you guys. Thanks. Thank you. Sumire taps down our choice quickly on her phone. She flashes us a thumbs up. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Chiharu and I decided to work on either other club activities or the autumn field trip. We figured we should have 2 interchangeable topics in case someone else on the team decides on a similar one. Okay. The autumn field trip has been easy enough to get the information for. Unlike our first venture to the office, the counsellor we saw this time was very helpful upon knowing we're from the journalism club and gave us a full brochure for the field trip, not like the other counsellor which we signed up for a club who was barely able to keep himself awake. The field trip is an organised hike through the mountains behind... oh my... mountains behind Komachi. There's an old hunter's lodge that was turned into a small resort in the forest, which would be the school's destination. Pretty neat if I have to say so myself. If I remember correctly, this timeline fits well with the disappearance of Jasmine, isn't it? As for the other club activities, it has been a bit trickier to research. While most of the clubs are listed on Komachi's highest website, Kanako has informed us it is outdated. There have been several new clubs opening and quite a few closed since the website was last updated. A few of the clubs have their own social media accounts, like Cooking Club and Aikibana Club, but most of the others operate rather quietly. Inadvertently, my mind circles back to Ember and the Occult Club, feeling a shudder building at the pit of my stomach. What happened last year? Was that the case for Ember's aggressiveness? More than just that. Is Ember still part of the Occult Club? If so, why? She is the Occult Club. Was Ember involved with all those deaths and disappearances? Yes. 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 She was. Alongside Chiharu. I've been putting it off for a while, not wanting to think about such depressing topics when everything else has been going great, but today makes ignoring those particular questions. Swallowing dryly, I stare at the screen for a long moment before deciding to just give in to that dreadful temptation to research what happened. What comes on my screen is not what I expected. It is far less than what I expected for a case that sounds this big, because it's all under the rug sort of thing. Thanks, Emery. 13 students and 2 teachers went missing last year. Only 6 bodies were found, while the rest are presumed dead or still missing. 5 students and the teachers were from the same school as us, and the rest were from middle school, with the exception of someone from a nearby college. A lot of those deaths were ruled as that word or accident, none of them homicide. Most of these deaths happened towards the end of the year, and they seem overshadowed by other mundane reports about the exams, new store openings, and talks about reopening the summer festivals. Thanks, Emery. Other than a very brief summarized report and a few missing person articles, I can't seem to find anything else. Other than the found victims have a joint memorial service at the local shrine. See, I thought it would more tie to Emery's kind of antics, if she has any antics, that is. It is both disappointing and unnerving. With a town as small as Komachi, I thought an incident as big as this would have caused a huge stir, but it didn't, and the school itself seems content to not talk about it. Sumire herself didn't say anything until she spotted Ember that day. So what happened? I spent another half an hour looking through reports and news articles around the time, but nothing else comes up. Something akin to frustration flares within me. I should do a count on how many times the word flare has appeared within the game. What are they trying to hide? After dinner, I spent a good 3 hours composing my topic. I think we've done all of this, okay. Chiharu and I take this opportunity to compare notes one last time. We were on an extensive call last night, making sure that our research lines up. Chiharu's been leaning towards other club activities as our topic, and I'm torn between picking the easy route or following along. Follow along. Undoubtedly, other club activities would be a much more interesting topic to work around, and it would sate Chiharu's thirst for gossip, not that she would ever admit it. Let's see, what are we going to gossip about? The Occult Club? On the other hand, while a lot of students are looking forward to the autumn field trip, an article on it would be as bland as it could possibly be. All the necessary information is available on both the school's website, blog, and the retreat's website. Whatever we could possibly write, it can't be called news if it's already out there. I just have a terrible gut feeling about the clubs, and I can't bring myself to tell Chiharu. She frets even easier than me. And here comes the other 2 fellow investigators. As expected, Chiharu has gone forward with other club activities as a topic. In the heat of the moment, She has shown Sumire the extensive research she's done, and not much for the student's trip. Now that they have stopped talking, Chiharu's gone completely flustered, realising what she has done. You've hogged all the spotlight. It's not like I haven't anticipated this. Flip open my notes. Here goes nothing. Well, as Chiharu said, we'll be focused on club activities. Since we have over 30 active clubs at school, I think it would be best if we split up the amount of interviews between the two of us. 3. Huh? I'm not going to just sit around doing nothing, you know. I'll help you guys, of course. Alright. Thanks, Sumire. That means there'll be 10 per person then, if that's how math works out. 30 divided by 3. Right, so how do you want to split up a club? Yep, Chiharu, do you want to work with the cooking club? Sorry. I think I'll work with the arts club. And I can do the literature club. We divide the clubs among ourselves, so we agree to have more than one person working on, like the cooking club, since we might need photographs to go along with the articles. I want to feel push away Chiharu.
Well, your parents have asked you to get that camera, so therefore this isn't really your work, this is your parents' work. All you're doing is using the phone.
Sumire suggests, since we have a lot to cover, it might be a good idea to spread out the article throughout the issues we have over the school year to prevent taking up too much space. A notion that neither I or Chiharu has anything against. We could group up different clubs to keep the topic diverse and estimate our word counts. It goes pretty smoothly, and we only pause when we can't figure out something, like a club schedule if we should interview a certain club during their meeting outside of the environment. There is just one thing that bothers me. One thing that I caught up on pretty quickly, and wasn't sure if I should bring it up in front of Chiharu or not. Now here's a choice we haven't gone through yet. If, let's say hypothetically, what if we mention about the occult club, and therefore the protagonist will go into it none the wiser, and probably have a bit more idea towards its inner workings because Chiharu is too nice for the world. But if we select wait, then Chiharu may ponder about the occult club. But if we've already got it covered, then that doesn't necessarily mean that Chiharu is in danger. Let's go with that. What about the occult club? Sumire, so we haven't assigned anyone to the occult club. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Do you want to do that interview with me, Flare? Chiharu does have a lot of bigger clubs on her plate already, so maybe we can handle that bit? Sure. Great. Don't you go into it, Chiharu. Right, so I know the swimming team practices every afternoon, but it's too easy to notice how quickly Sumire shifts away from that subject. Maybe I should have waited to bring it up later. Sumire looks a bit uncomfortable, and if I pressed for more, Chiharu would be too. Oh dear, I resolved to take notes as Chiharu and Sumire continue on like a whirlwind. I still think that was a better thing to do though. I won't deny that it's fun. Overwhelming, but fun, and seeing Chiharu flourish in such a positive environment is amazing, indeed it is. But also as well, we still went to Chiharu's place, even though we didn't get to a choice of, Sumire or Kanako. Such a way. Maybe it's because we compared notes then and there, I'm not too sure. Sumire and Chiharu are supposed to go interview the cooking club today. Apparently they have a tryout, and Chiharu thinks it would be great to include it as a part of the club's showcase. After all, it's the only non-sport club that has a tryout. I hang out with Kanako and a few other club members for the first half of lunch break before wandering off to find Chiharu and Sumire. I ran into them pretty quickly, but the expressions they're wearing aren't what I expected. Should treat another. Yeah? Flare! What happened here? Hey! Hey girls, what's wrong? They exchange a look. Sumire scrunches up her nose at Chiharu, and Chiharu sighs. It's, the cooking club interview didn't go as planned. Yeah, I know Jasmine has quite the reputation, but I didn't think she would be so mean. What, was she being rude to you guys? No, but she was being really mean to the potential recruits. She acted like she's some celebrity chef, insulting everyone like that, and her posy just edged her on, yeah. That's awful, and she's the club's president? Both girls nod in confirmation. That's not the worst part, though. My goodness sakes, what could be the worst part? Ember happens to walk past, and she made an offhanded comment at Jasmine, and now they're both yelling up there. Yeah, we retreated from that. I think that's the best. And that could also be why Jasmine was kidnapped later on throughout the game. Like, this happened, but we didn't know about it, but obviously it still happened in the background, but it just wasn't shown on scene in the game. Ember again, but this time I can't help but think this pompous club president deserves to deal with Ember's temper. I'm sorry, I should have gone with you two. Don't worry about it. I volunteered to interview the club. You shouldn't have to shoulder that as well. Yeah, I mean, I know Jasmine has a reputation for being catty, but I didn't think she would act like that for the interview. And now the interview is ruined. Don't look so down, Chiharu. To be fair, if that's the way she chose to act, then her club doesn't deserve to be featured. Now that, Sumire, is a good point to point out. If the cooking club is not even mentioned in the article, then for goodness sakes, they must have done something wrong to not be included. If the occult club is included, then that shows how low Jasmine is within the cooking club, as its president. But honestly, she should be glad we won't make a whole exposure article on her. Yeah, that's also true. Jasmine only gets to be like that because her parents are on the scoreboard. Yikes. Great. For real? Yeah, in such a small town you'll find that kids of the influential go around flexing their parents' power pretty often. But that's wrong. That is indeed wrong. Yeah, but what can you do? They do it because nobody calls them out for it. It's a headache at the station. From what my dad told me, even he doesn't have a lot of jurisdiction. Everything has to go to the mayor, through the mayor, and in more serious cases, the Onishi house. Onishi? As in Emery and Shazaya Onishi? You mean Emery Onishi? Yeah, there's a lot going on. The mayor would pardon any minor case regarding children of the affluences. There's... Sumire steps closer, lowering her voice. There's a lot of investment in this town, and the mayor doesn't want to disturb that. Yeah, that is a thing, right? Businesses moving into a quiet, secluded part of the world. That's really shady.
And Amber thinks it's the gang that's doing it, but it's just made up in her head.
Nothing we could do about it, though, so we just have to be stuck with many Jasmines around the school. Yikes. The bell chimes then, signifying the end of a rather depressing conversation. We say goodbye to each other and split off towards class, mind heavy with what just happened. Thankfully, the other interviews we have done throughout the week haven't been as difficult as with the cooking club. Even the occult club? Chiharu doesn't say anything, but she must feel some relief over that. While everyone knows it's not her fault it went sideways, I know that initial failure weighs heavily in her mind. This is where I become incredibly grateful for the journalism club. Everyone upon hearing about what happened, all try to cheer Chiharu up with encouragement. Some go out of their way to spend lunch with her, and Kanako even gave a huge speech about the hardship of journalism and how by sticking together, we can overcome everything. Everything. Sumire has been spending more time with us as well, and has turned out to be the best support system Chiharu could ask for. She checks in to see if Chiharu needs help and always finds time in her busy schedule to hang out with Chiharu. Now that is the nice thing, isn't it? That is the thing of friendship. Like, it's the difference between spending time with somebody because you have free time to spend time with them, but also as well, if you had something planned then and there, but then you say to that initial place or person or people that you can't make it because something else popped up, but the other thing that popped up is that the fact of spending time with a friend, it means that friendship is something that is very solid and very meaningful. Like, you make time for a person not because you have spare time, but because you're willing to give up that time for that person, even if it means like a sacrifice of, let's say, studying for the evening for an upcoming exam or test. Chiharu thrives under all the positive attention she's been getting and bounces back quickly with her following interviews. Despite Kanako's strange manner of speech, she is a very attentive club president. Back when Sumire's endless enthusiasm, it's not a surprise that the journalism club has drawn in the best people in school. Wow, Chiharu, these are really good. Really? Thank you. Yeah, this draft is really detailed. I need to work hard to catch up to you. Aww. Again, this is the wrong name. This must be Chiharu speaking. I must commend you on your efforts, fellow investigator. You're taking the life of a journalist like a fish to water. Thanks, Kanako. Our weekly meetings have become Chiharu's highlight. And mine too, if I'd admit. Everyone is so nice. And being able to work outdoors in such good weather really boosts our morale. The weather also helps. Happy with our progress, Kanako bounces off to the next group. Our first issue is due in 3 weeks. At this rate, I think you can get that done easy. We have enough content to cover 2 issues. I think we can do a small featured club section to help with smaller clubs' recruitments. Like... Oh, I like that. Maybe we could coordinate with a digital team. Sounds good. Okay, I'm drafted it. And something bad happens. Jasmine, are you okay? Did you guys hear that? Who couldn't hear that? What? What was that? Everyone has gotten up from where they are, whispering worriedly. Did you guys hear that? With a shocked look on our faces, do you think we didn't hear that? Is someone in trouble? Sounds like that came from the school. Could be a... No, something like that is not a prank. Help, someone! Sounds like someone is in trouble. Yes. With a determined expression on her face, Sumire sets off towards the school, followed by Kanako and a few others. Sumire! Damn it. Stay here, Shah. Ready to call for an ambulance if needed. Okay. Yeah, especially Chiharu's not here. Otherwise she may go a bit psychotic. I dash in after the others, phone in hand. It's pre-day after school, so only a few clubs are still operating. The foster room, is on the other side of the building, and there shouldn't be many teachers left on site at this hour. It would take a moment for them to get here. It could have been some sort of accident. Suddenly sounded like it. The cries and shouting haven't stopped though. Only grew louder as I chased after the other members of my club. That's concerning. I pull out my phone, ready to call the ambulance if needed, and that's when I round the corner. Death. Oh, something is... Oh. I know it. Somebody has been mangled up. Lying crumpled at the bottom of the staircase is a female student. Eyes still wide, fear and shock still stay frozen on her ashen face as blood bubbles out. The back of her neck goes flat between her shoulder blades, making her stare straight at us in her demise. Broken spine protrudes through her throat. Yeah, the bone jagged and spitting crimson over the marble floor, limbs bend in awkward angles. The fingers still twitch as if reacting to the screams that now fill our hallway. I feel my entire body tremble. Yeah, this was Jasmine. Rather than Chiharu seen it, is Sumire this time. Jasmine? She... Numbly I force myself to look away from the grotesque sight. Turning to wordlessly hold on to Sumire, she immediately clings onto me. Horrified tears streaming down her face. Yep, Sumire, look away. Yeah, Sumire is quaking uncontrollably. I don't blame her. I feel like my knees are going to give out at any moment. Everyone else is in a similar stage of shock. I don't remember much of what else was happening. I remember holding on to Sumire like a lifeline, for both our sakes, until we were led outside to a word Chiharu. I remember our club huddling together. whispering quietly and trying to be there for those who went in and saw what happened. I remember Chiharu prying the phone from my dead grip and calling my mum for me, and Kanako doing the same for Sumire. I remember our parents arriving to pick us up. Chiharu ended up going with me and my parents. I remember passing by the teacher explaining to concerned adults that a terrible accident has occurred. It's not an accident, Ember. But most of all, I remember Jasmine's parents, their terrible cries echoing over and over in my head as I ducked down and leave, shutting my eyes against the night, dreading for the nightmares that would surely come. Yeah, so it's drastically different. Blossoming. Yeah, because Jasmine's death in this game was just after Chapter 2 started, but this case is just before Chapter 2 started. But whose death could also be covered in the... well, before Chapter 2 started. That's right, Chiharu. Great. Just fantastic occult club. I'm just glad Chiharu didn't have to see what we saw. Yeah, in another timeline she would. Those of us who came to that scene that day don't want to talk about it. It's jarring enough having to see someone, a student like ourselves, in a state like that. Talking about it would just make things more difficult. To forget, to move on. People certainly remind me enough. School was closed the day after the incident. Had to be. There are talks about how big of a fuss Jasmine's parents made. Threats were thrown around, accusations interpreted by those who were not there. It both baffles me and makes me sigh in resignation to how much people have to say about it. An accident is an accident, right? No matter how tragic they might be, they happen to everyone. But people also have a morbid fascination about death. One that's so sudden and violent is bound to have the rumour mill going. Yep, some can get especially cruel. I heard her best friend... Would you just shut up, okay? We don't need to know about this, okay? We're trying to make this a good timeline, not like the others. But it's already been tainted by the occult club. Probably can't stand her attitude anymore.
Says that right.
Nauseated, I walk away from that conversation as quickly as I can. And you, Ember. What? Watch where you're going. Sorry. Whatever. Oh, whatever to you too, Ember. The tall girl Ember shoves past me and disappears around the corner. Rude. Rubbing my shoulder, I sigh. This sudden encounter reminds me that I and Sumire still have to interview a cult club and, by that extension, Ember herself. Despite knowing high school rumors can be wildly inaccurate and cruel, I have my own reservations about that club. With what Sumire has told us, and her own hesitation, I must admit I have a bad second-hand impression of them. Plus, I had gone and done some research myself. The most disturbing thing that came up was that nothing really came up. There was a report on the casualties, though most of them were noted as missing, and still are considered missing to this day. The other confirmed deaths are marked as that word. The names of the victims were barely mentioned in the handful of articles I came across. As my search on the internet came up empty, I turned to using my status as a journalist club member to dig up more information via the school archive. It was surprising how quickly the staff's attitudes changed and how lenient they became when I told them I was doing research on the club's behalf. Or perhaps I shouldn't have been too surprised. After all, Sumire is a police chief's daughter, and Kanako's aunt is the vice principal. I do feel bad for abusing that status, but technically I wasn't lying. Researchers need about the occult club, so I can brace myself for whatever might happen during the interview. I didn't know how to feel when I found out Sumire wasn't lying. Not that I was doubting her in the first place. Wasn't lying, I mean. But it was difficult to process when the truth stared right back at you. All previous occult club members are among the dead and missing. All except for Ember. And what makes that the case? And there are other things I found out too. Do you know that they attempted to shut down the occult club? They did? Yeah, probably the best spin ever, actually. Yeah, but the previous members threatened to cause a scene. Then, with everything else that followed, the school didn't follow up again. with the closure threat, that is. I did hear that the office purposely didn't assign enough people to the occult club, but then they managed to find enough members on their own. Difficult not to, considering Shizeo is now the vice president, damn it. I see. We look down at our notes, wearing matching frowns. The club room is almost deserted today, with everyone spreading out to take care of their project. Chiharu is going to the judo team with Ohara. That's the first time we've heard of that name, who has graciously offered to help her take pictures. The only ones remain are myself and Sumire, and the digital team, though they are so busy talking all over each other so loudly they can't spare us a class. I don't want to put this off for too long. Interviewing them? Yeah. She heaves out a sigh, her expression complicated. I have to admit, I don't like Ember, partially because of my own experience, but also because of everything surrounding her. She's just a really troubled person. She even crossed paths with my dad a couple of times. She got into trouble with the law? She's been involved in a couple of street fights, vandalism, pickpocketing, that sort of petty crime stuff. But she never got put away because she kept getting bailed out. By a particular ownership personnel? Oh well, no, it's not that. That's the thing. Her parents passed away ages ago. Or were moved away from Ember's life ages ago. So Ember must have a sponsor, someone who's willing to bail her out at every turn. Shizeo. Shizeo, she is the culprit of getting her out of jail. Who is this person? Do you know who that person is? Sumire shakes her head. Dad never said. It's none of my business anyway, and he's not allowed to say. Confidential information after all. I see. I slide down at my notebook. Over the last couple of weeks, despite the tragedy, we have been pushing ourselves to complete the tasks we have put out for the club, and we've been doing a mostly good job. We just unanimously push interviewing the occult club to the last. It's an unspoken agreement, one that we carefully don't discuss around Chiharu. That's another issue. Despite not being there at the scene with Jasmine that day, Chiharu has been terrified of going around school alone, not just out of fear for us, but for herself as well. If I wasn't so scared myself, I would have teased Chiharu about it. Don't. If Chiharu wasn't with me, with either me or Sumire, she would go with someone from the club. She has also taken to hang out with... Goodness sakes, she is the culprit. Surprisingly, Shizeo, despite the difference in their personalities, the two have clicked rather well. It's because Shizeo wants Chiharu's trust, wants Chiharu's happy side, so that then Shizeo can bait Chiharu like a fish being baited to the fishing hook, because it's made of lovely, delicious sweet corn, disguised as a metal hook. Or a metal hook disguised as a sweet corn. While Shizeo is directly tied into the occult club, it's a relief to see Chiharu reaching out of her comfort zone and befriending others on her own accord. More like Shizeo's accord. I suppose she could have picked someone worse, like Ember. When do you want to do this? Sumire's inevitable question draws me out of my thoughts. I sigh again. Can we just not do it? That rewards me with a chuckle, though startled, from Sumire. Huh? To be honest, your call, I'm fine with either way, We'll have to explain to Chiharu why we didn't complete the interview, though. Especially now that she's hanging out with Shizeo. It's not fair to leave someone out because of suspicions, is it? No. She lets out a loud exhale, sounding defeated. It's especially not fair when there are many mysteries surrounding this particular group of people. Yeah, that's also what I'm worried about, too. We don't have to do this now. With the way we have been collecting interviews with the other clubs and teams, we have way more than enough materials for the year's first issue. We could just leave that club till a bit later. Sumire does have a point. What to do? Is avoiding the issue bad? That is the thing. Is avoiding the issue bad? We'll go with it. As tempting as procrastinating is, I don't think pushing back the interview would solve any of our problems. It can even bring more unforeseen complications. I explain as much to Sumire and feel a tinge of guilt as her face falls. You're right. We should just get this done and over with. With her heads up high. Yeah, sorry. Sumire wrinkles her nose and pats her own cheeks twice. Hyping herself up. Right. How do you want to do this and when? Well, we've got to figure out their schedule right and ask if an interview is alright. Yeah, standard stuff. I think I can catch a word with Shizeo. She usually hangs out with Chiharu every now and again, so it wouldn't be difficult. Right, I could do this week, Friday? Hopefully we can line that up with them. Okay, I'll make sure to ask. We round up some of the logistics, just as with any other interview, hoping that it would be just another regular interview. I can't deny that foreboding sensation settling in the pit of my stomach, though. I hope that this isn't going to turn around and bite us. Well, folks, I think we should be able to see if that is going to, we would say, bite us in the next time. Is this the same? Yeah, this is the same kind of stuff. You're thinking about joining the occult club, aren't you? Wait, what? Not like I'm going to quit the journalism club. Don't worry about that. I was going to say Sumire and the others would be heartbroken if you quit. Aw, Flare. No, of course I'm not going to quit. Do you have an idea? Could you just spill the beans on what that club is? Did you say your parents wouldn't let you have a part-time job? Yeah. I'm looking through my options. Shizeo definitely made some interesting suggestions. Shizeo, you're really close to her, huh? Yeah, she's fun. And she's really kind. She even introduced me to Ember. The occult club is the one you want to go after, isn't it? My brain skids to a halt. Ember, as in scary Ember. Oh yeah, and she's not mean to others, right, Chiharu? Ember isn't as awful as everyone else is making her out to be. Is she? Chiharu claps my shoulder playfully. She's not silly. She's a bit eccentric, but once she gets to know her, she's really nice. She makes amazing bento too. So that's who Chiharu's been hanging out with at lunch, huh? I shake my head, chasing away the curling bitterness at the pit of my stomach. Well, as long as you're having fun. I am, but people here are so nice. They have been, yeah? The conversation pelters away into silence. I have half a mind not to pick it up again, but I realise that's just being petty. I can't resent Chiharu for wanting to hang out with whoever she wants to. Us drifting apart can partially be my fault too. I don't reach out as much as I should. If I do, I'm sure Chiharu wouldn't turn me down. She's just good like that. Occult club. I'm just feeling sorry for myself, and that's not fair to her. At all. So biting back a sigh, I ask, do you have a club in mind? I swear, if you say occult club, I'm going to end this episode off here. Yes, it's the occult club, isn't it, Chiharu? Just say it. Just say the words. Come on. Occult club, isn't it? Occult club. What? My mouth goes inexplicably dry. I grab myself on the elbow, digging my nails into my underarm before I could say something rash. How come? Well, I mean, I've always had a fascination with creepy, scary stuff. No, you have not. I know, no, I'm that typical, I'm scared easy, so I want to be scared kind of girl. But the stuff they're looking at sounds genuinely cool. But Chiharu... What about those last year cases? Yeah, what about those last year cases? Well, we'll continue on to this. We'll make sure we're not hearing the last of this, for goodness sakes. What about those last year cases? What's she thinking? Doesn't she remember what Sumire told us? Chiharu, what about those disappearances? Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't say I'm not curious, but I did ask him, and the answers were not what you might expect at all. They have answers to the unsolved missing and dead cases of last year? Well, you should have joined then. If only you knew, Chiharu, about how mad I am right now. Those were other people too. Members of the faculty and students from different schools. It's a huge tragedy, but it doesn't have... But it doesn't have anything to do with the club itself. Is she even listening to herself? Did they tell you that? Ember and Shazeo? Yeah? And you just believe them? No questions asked? Flare, what are you saying? You should take everything with a grain of salt. But... one is prison, the other is vice. Of course I don't want you to hear anything bad about their club. But Flare, you can't be that naive. Ember is the only person remaining from last year. Well, obviously she's just luring you in. Don't you remember what Shazeo told us? Chiharu, you are too nice. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Chiharu, they're my friends too. How could you accuse them like that? Chiharu. Sobbing, Chiharu shoves past and running away, cursing under my breath. I began chasing after her, but my steps slow into a halt. My ears burn with a jumble of mixed emotions. Shame and guilt are given, but also indignation and anger. I know Chiharu. I know her tendency to believe in the best of people. But even she can't overlook such shady things. Rumors and gossip aside, I have looked into the occult club files. There is so much darkness and unknown surrounding them. Even if she wasn't suspicious of them like I am, Chiharu should have done some research before she decided to join. But she hasn't decided yet. The wave of anger just leaves me in a rush. What is wrong with me? Chiharu was just trying to ask for advice, and I went off on her just because I was feeling sorry for myself. But did you, though? Did you mess up big time? Chiharu is your best friend, your childhood friend. But for goodness sake, she made a dreadful decision there. And we're going to follow up this dreadful decision in the next time, folks. So, I think the story itself has definitely diverged into a brand new main path, in a way. But this path definitely has led to some bad outcomes. But thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Missing Time. I think we've already covered the best ending to this route though, so what awaits here can only be even worse. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.